Hey, in this lesson, we're going to be looking at how to manipulate and edit shapes as well as images to make a magazine cover look a little bit more professional. So whether it's a snowboard magazine or any magazine, we're going to add a few things to this one as well as just show you how some pieces came together. Now, the first thing you want to do is look at samples. Look at a lot of samples and choose some things that you like and notice some stuff. So for example, in this one, I'm noticing that there are some shapes here to separate article titles. There's some little arrows here that are repeated. So you'll notice that there's repeated things, regardless of what you're looking at, there's often repeated items. So there's repeated little blue boxes to separate items here. There's some circles with images, which is what I'm trying to replicate on this guy right here. So just notice shapes, notice images, and notice how they're used. Here's a little plus sign. Here's a whole bunch of little arrows. Here's some divider lines here. Notice how they're used to make the magazine cover look more professional. Here's some shapes behind the text and all that sort of stuff. So look at lots and lots of samples. Now, if you happen to be in my class, what you'll probably want to notice is that there is a link right here. Look at real life magazines that will show you a whole bunch, or you can look at some samples as well of student samples on the last slide. I believe there's some student samples. So just notice items, boxes, arrows, different sizes, different shapes. Sometimes there's shapes below, sometimes there's random shapes in corners, all that sort of stuff. So I'll just show you how to piece some of that together and how to edit some of it really quickly here. So getting on to that, oh, here's another one. You'll notice that there's some boxes along the side that accentuate the length of the article. So I'll be adding some of that stuff. So number one is just creating and editing with shapes. So the common shapes that you're going to want to manipulate are rectangles and ellipses, although there are other ones. So rectangles, for example, very easy. There's a rectangle tool right here. Just make your rectangle. Okay. Now, a few things you'll notice about your rectangle. First of all, to edit the color, you can do that up here or over here. So I'm going to edit the color, and I'm going to make this rectangle kind of the dark blue, and you can go to the color picker here if you'd like to. I'm going to make it the dark blue, the outline of this guy. Okay? There we go. Now, if you want to edit, if you're still on the rectangle tool, oh, another thing you'll notice really quickly as well is that these shapes by default, a lot of people don't notice this, by default they have a 1 pixel black stroke on them. And in a lot of cases, students don't actually want that, so I wish it wasn't there. But if you wanted to get rid of that, what you could do is with your rectangle tool, go to stroke here and turn it off. So this is the transparent, so that would have no stroke now. Now to edit the size of your rectangle, you can just go to the size. As long as you're on your rectangle tool, you can very, very easily manipulate the size of your rectangle. And I'm actually going to pull this rectangle right to the side here to kind of accentuate this article that's on this right-hand side. So that's kind of a really nice, quick way. And if I was adding more articles, I could kind of manipulate with that. But you can see that kind of looks, that kind of looks nice. Right? So it adds some feature or some professional look there. Now, if you want to create some rectangles like between articles, same thing. You can do that if you want to. Now, to duplicate, if you press Control-C and then Control-V, which is copy and paste, you can duplicate. And that allows you to make rectangles that are exactly the same size. So as you saw in some of the samples that I was showing you previously, a lot of the images here have identical sized shapes. So you can see these two here are identical. So using the copy and paste feature really helps with that. Now, regarding circles, very similar. It's called the ellipse tool, but there's one thing you want to know. So for ellipses is if you hold down Shift while either you create the circle or while you resize the circle, it will make it a perfect circle. If you do not hold down Shift, you can edit it to look like an ellipse. So that's up to you, but just be aware holding down Shift will make it a perfect circle as you resize. Again, you can edit the color, you can edit the stroke, you can do a variety of things here, but that's how to create circles. Okay? Now what I could do, I might as well just do this really quickly, is I'm going to duplicate this circle. So let me just go ahead and copy and paste it. So there we go. There's another circle, and if I wanted to, I could, if I had any images, I could bring them in. So there's an image of some goggles there. Again, it's pretty big, but you're getting the idea that adding images, adding shapes, having some consistency between them allows you to really, really more professional looking magazine cover here. Okay, so that's looking pretty cool. All right, last couple things. To add other unique shapes. So for example, this guy here is just literally a plus sign. It's on your keyboard, it's plus. I believe the plus sign is right above equals. So you can do that. This guy here also is right on your keyboard. It's two to the right of the M on your keyboard. I could just duplicate that again, just to add some consistency, to add some repetition. If I took this 175 and moved it off to the side, I could then add this guy right here. And all of a sudden, the level of professional look is going up here. Okay, so that's just some things to think about. Oh, one more thing that I might as well mention is unique shapes. So I've talked about rectangles, I've talked about circles, and finally, just to deal with unique shapes. So let's say this white triangle up here, I'm just going to quickly delete it. That is created with this tool right here called the pen tool, but there's one extra thing you need to do. So if you go to the pen tool, you have to make sure that at the top here, the drop-down menu, it has shape selected. So if you select shape, what you can do is just kind of click, and as soon as you do your third click, it will close the object, and there is the shape. And it has the same type of fill items, so you can change your color if you'd like to. I could just choose a white color. You can manipulate the size of that shape if you want to. So if you go to your move tool, you can move it around just like anything else. So that is some of the items for shapes and images to make your magazine cover look more professional.